better through the pain. But look at us now, on some better. Is life too short to live in these extremes? Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. And all through the night I wondered and waited, for it's been said, united we stand, divided we fall. To wait here for you, holding it together, just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come. And all I know is anger, lies, confusion. And what I'm saying is you don't realize what this means. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of SOB Sports with your wrestling legends, Mike Halac, formerly known as Mantaur, and Paul New, formerly known as the Rap Master PN News. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Paul New and Mike Halac.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody out there in podcast land today, man? As Tim said, I'm Mike. And there's my partner, Paul, and we can't tell you how grateful and thankful we are here at SOB Sports to finally get this venture kicked off the ground. We're going to have a great story today. You know, I'd like to give a shout out to Monty and the Pharaoh and Tim Beal for collaborating on this venture, man, and getting this off the ground. And we're going to have a lot of fun today, everybody. Paul, what do you got?
Yeah, that's right, Mike. I really want to thank these guys too. Universal, Tim Beal, and Monty the Pharaoh. This is going to be a great venture. I am looking so effing forward to getting this venture off the ground. We're going to do a lot of exciting stuff over the next few months and years, and we're going to make everybody that's listening to this podcast happy, and they're going to go about their day and they're going to feel a little bit better about themselves after they've had a laugh with me and my partner, Mike.
Ooh, let's give the first Mantaur roar, everybody. That's what I'm talking about. You know,
Oh, baby, baby, yo.
Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. So tell me, bro, how did you sleep last night, man? Did you sleep good? Did you get a good night's rest?
Dude, I had visions of sugar plum fairies, and they all had your face on them, man. It was fantastic.
Like you said, like a
night.
big fat baby, man.
I had a great time. I was, I slept pretty good. You know me, Mike. I'm not a really great sleeper, but it felt pretty good. I was really excited about starting this venture today. I mean, I saw you posted it on Facebook. I posted it earlier today, and we've had quite a bit of traction on that. So everything's looking good, buddy.
Yeah, man. Same here, brother. So without further ado, man, let's get this show on the road. So what I want to lead off with here today is I want to let everybody out there know who we are, how we got hooked up together, why everybody's calling us brothers and cousins and sisters. You know, I want to put it out there for everybody so we could finally put all this shit to rest, man, because I'm tired of hearing the fucking question all the time. Hey, what's up with your brother PN News? And I'm like, man, that's not my brother. But, you know, if you say so, what's up with your cousin? Man, it's not my cousin, man. And I get tired of hearing that fucking shit. So maybe after today, we won't have to hear that crap anymore.
Well, you know what? We don't have to, Mike. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how we can sort the problem out. Let's get right into it. And why don't you tell everybody how this came about? Because it started on your end when you met my brother John New. I want you to start with that.
Yeah. So remind me again what year was it that you were hot on WCW? Was it,
It was
91,
99.
92?
Yeah, no, it was 1991, man, is when I was hot on the WCW at the time.
Okay, so 1991, everybody. I just spent 11 months in training camp in Tampa, Florida with Larry Malenko. He was formerly known as the Great Boris Malenko. His son, Dean Malenko, the man of 1,000 holds, and his other son, Jody Malenko. So I spent 11 months in Florida training and learning the job. And I came back to Omaha, Nebraska, and I was home for about a month. And a buddy called me up and said, hey, Slim, you want to go out and have a couple beers? I said, sure. So we met at this bar, and about 10, 15 minutes into having a couple beers, man, we're standing there. And my buddy says, hey, man, why is this guy peacocking you? I was like, man, I don't know, but he fucking sure is staring pretty hard. And I said, if you don't knock that shit out, I'm going to go over there and fucking knock his ass out. And he was like, yeah, man. And so this guy could obviously tell that we were getting a little angry and shit because he's over there fucking staring at us, man. I mean, staring a fucking hole right through you. And he comes over and he says, hey, fellas, he says, how's it going, man? He says, listen, man, he says, I'm sorry for staring at you guys, he says, but I'm trying to fucking figure out why my brother is in this bar and not coming over and saying hello to me. And I was like, your brother, huh? He was like, yeah, my brother. I says, I suppose your brother is PN News, the Rap Master. And the only reason I said that is because at the time, you were super smoking hot on WCW TV. I just came out of training camp, and I had aunts and uncles from all over the United States calling my mom and dad and saying, hey, Marcia, hey, Bob, is that Mike on TV, man? He looks fucking great. And there's like, no, man, he just got back from Florida. So I'd seen you work on TV a couple times, and so that's what it came. I said, so I suppose you're going to tell me your brother's PN News, the Rap Master. He was like, absolutely, yes, I am. I said, man, now I'm really fucking going to knock you. I'm going to knock your ass out twice. Once for fucking lying to me and once for staring. He was like, no, wait. He's reaching in his back pocket and he grabs out his license. He says, look, he says, here's my license. He says, my name's Johnny New. His name is Paul New. And he says that our mom and dad own New Cheese up in Hardington, Nebraska. And I was like, fucking incredible, man. What are the chances of this, man? So we fucking hugged it out, man, and had a fucking couple beers. We tried to call your fat ass, but you didn't answer. And
I was on the road.
You end up, returning my phone call, thank goodness, a week or so later. And you asked me, you said, hey, I hear we look a lot alike. And I was like, yeah, according to all my family, yes, we do. And at that time, bro, you have to admit, me and you could have been twins.
Yeah, we could have been. I just want to add, like, I remember talking to my brother John, and he said, God, I met this guy. You really need to talk to him. He puts you over like $1 million, man. I don't know. I mean, I know he's not gay, so I know nothing nefarious went on. So, so John's a great businessman. He's got a couple of businesses up there in Yankton, South Dakota. I'm very proud of his little buddy and stuff like that. He's got a wonderful family. But John was he was so excited. And then when I finally did get to talk to you, and then I met you, and I mean, dude, we did look exactly alike. Our faces and stuff like that. Our bodies were a little bit different, but you can't have everything, right? But
no, you sure can't, man.
No, and then I think we went up to, where was it? We ended up going up to Sioux City. We started up in Sioux City, and we ended up in Kansas City.
You asked me.
And I work with. You came up to Sioux City. You drove up yourself to Sioux City, and I think I was on with One Man Gang that night in Sioux City, Iowa. I had like busloads of people come out of Hardington, just like 60 minutes up the road, and busloads of people. So I mean, that's what is it? The Civic Hall there in Sioux City, dude. That was a Civic Center.
I don't know if you remember this, but at the end of the trip, you asked me if I could give a couple boys a ride back to Omaha. And it was Robert Gibson and the Junkyard Dog. Now, you remember going to the hood and looking for some crack for JYD?
I don't remember it, but I mean, but I can imagine that JYD was looking for some shit.
So here's how it ran down. So we're like 15 minutes out of town, and JYD says, "Hey, Mike," he says, "The only place where we can get some fucking crack around here And I was like, crack? I was like, well, fuck, JYD, I always smoke weed, so I don't know what the fuck you're on about. They said, but I'm sure we could find some in the hood. He said, let's go to the hood, man. He says, let me meet my fellow brothers in crime. And so we drive to the fucking hood, man. I flag this fucking guy down. He comes over. He said, hey, man, can we get 200? Because JYD wanted $200 worth of crack. He says, can we get $200 worth of crack? The guy says, man, he says, what do you think? You guys a bunch of cops, man? You think I'm holding $200 worth of crack on me? I'm standing on the fucking street corner? Are you nuts? And we said, listen, man, we got the money. JYD said, here's the money. He says, he looks in the car. He says, where do I know you from? To JYD. JYD said, I don't know. You tell me. He says, you're the one that brought it up. He's like, man, I've seen you somewhere before. I know I have, man. And JYD says, well, he says, you ever watch professional wrestling? He says, yeah, as a matter of fact, he says, oh my God, you JYD said, hey, man, asking me to buy some fucking crack. And he says, I'll tell you what, man. He says, let me just run to my dealer real quick. You guys drive around the fucking block and come back in 5 minutes, man, and I'll have it for you. So that's what we did, man. We drove around the fucking block and got the fucking $200 worth of crack, and we fucking went back to the fucking hotel, and JYD and fucking Robert Gibson fucking did $200 of fucking crack. I fucking said goodnight to Paul. I fucking went home and slept in my bed, and all I could think about was,
you know what,
man.
I'll tell you what, those two guys, both JYD and Robert Gibson, just a good time. You know, good guys to hang out with, regardless of what their habits were. They were just great to be around, man. You know what I mean? They were
great workers, right? I mean, great workers. Yeah. I mean, JYD was he like the first African American to hold the belt in WCW, right?
No, that was Ron Simmons, dude.
Oh, was it Ron Simmons? Okay.
Ron Simmons, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, Ron was a great guy, man. But JYD was good. I mean, you could always have a good time. Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton always used to say to me, goes, man, I ain't slept since 1983.
Yeah, man, it was a great time that weekend, man. I met Dick Murdoch for the first time. Met Dusty Rhodes for the first time. Met a lot of first timers. You know, I met a lot of old school pro wrestlers back in the day, man. When I was like 10, 11 years old, Mad Dog Vachon was my neighbor and lived just 2 blocks over the hill. And so he used to give, my dad was a mailman. He used to give my dad free tickets to the show at the Civic Auditorium. And we go down there and watch him wrestle. And then after the first match, my dad would take me down to the curtain. We'd ask for Mad Dog. Maurice would come, pick me up, and took me in the back. And I remember the first time I was like 10, and Maurice takes me back there. And the very first person he introduces me to is Andre the Giant, right? And he was like, knocked on his fucking door. He was like, boss, I have someone here who wants to meet you. I think he can take you. And Andre opens the door and he says, yeah, come on in. So we sat in. I remember I shook his hand, man. His fucking hand, and I got big hands, man. Look at the size of them fucking mitts. Andre's hands were 3 times the size of my hands, man. He totally engulfed my fucking hand, and I was just like, oh my God. And I was standing there, and he's sitting in a chair, and I'm still looking up at his big ass, right? I was like, this fucker's huge.
Mike, can I cut you off? I think we're having a mic issue with you. I don't think Tim's getting you on the mic. And I also wanted to just add the fact that JYD was the first black wrestler to hold Mid-South World Championship belt for Mid-South Territory. I believe that was, what's his name, Watts at the time. I believe that was Watts, Bill Watts.
Nice, so, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Episode 1 of SOB Sports Network with your host, wrestling legends Mike Halac, formerly known as Mantaur, and Paul New, formerly known as the Rap Master PN News. So we're talking about Junkyard Dog. So we left off talking about Junkyard Dog and him going into the ghettos of Mississippi and Louisiana, purchasing crack cocaine, which I knew about. But
It was actually
the first But I wanted to say something, and I'll let you guys turn it back over. Junkyard Dog was the first Black Mid-South World Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, which predated Ron Simmons' win in WCW probably by about 7 years. But you guys have the floor.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. We were talking about WCW. Ron Simmons was the first WCW Heavyweight World Champion. I did know about JYD doing that because that was for Bill Watts down there in those days. It was, but that's a good call. Please do that stuff. I don't know if Mike gets it, but I see that on my screen. And so anytime you're doing any kind of searching like that, that's going to help us out 100%, Tim.
Yeah, well, I knew that JYD was the first African American to be the champion somewhere, so at least I was half fucking right, But yeah, man, that first weekend, hanging out with you, bro, was a lot of fun. Beating Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes, Sting, all the boys. Right before I had a chance to work with any of them was absolutely incredible. And so fast forward a little bit, so. You and I continue talking after we first meet up for the first weekend and spent 72 hours together. And we kept talking on the phone, and you sent me this message. You said, hey, you want to go to Germany and learn the job, fat guy? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm game. And so you said, well, let me call the promoter, Otto Vance, because I've been working over there. And you called Otto. Otto loves big guys, you told me. And you got me the first gig in Germany for the CWA and Otto Vance right back in 92. And it was a blast, man. And I remember you told me, you said, Chubbs, whatever you do, just tell him you've been working for 2 years. I was like, okay, bro, you got it, man. So I fly across the pond. And we had a workout session, maybe one or two. There was me and the champ, and the champ second, my second, Dave Finley. And we went through the stuff. And I was a great amateur at that time. And I originally started training at Eddie Sharkey's training camp up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But he really wasn't teaching me anything. So I transferred down to Malenko's camp for 11 months. And so I pretty much got by that training session by the skin of my pants. And they said, how long have you been working? I said, 2 years. And obviously what we worked out, they believed me that I was wrestling for 2 years. And so I'm thinking I'm safe, man. So championship night comes, Saturday night comes, the place is full, like 9,000 people. And I'm out there and I'm shitting my pants because this is my first fucking professional wrestling match ever. And I mean, I start fucking hyperventilating, man. I was sweating. I totally forgot about everything that we talked about already. And I haven't even locked up with the guy, right? And so, is my mic still there?
Yeah, you're just moving around so much. We're struggling to hear you.
Okay, so.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists. 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
He loved your amateur background as well. Because you had that amateur background. That was huge. That's huge for Otto. You know what I mean? He likes big athletes. Otto himself was an ex-boxer, So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you didn't know that. Okay,
no, I had no idea.
So he told me stories about meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff like that because they grew up in the same area. But go ahead.
Yeah, so listen, I heard a story about Otto Vance. I don't know if it's true or not, but when he was in AWA, I heard that he paid Vern like 50 or 100,000 for that championship belt. Is that true?
Yeah, he paid a lot of money. I think it was about 15,000 Deutschmarks, so about 10 grand to win that belt so that he could go back to Germany with that title in Austria because it made it look good. And then it also got him into Japan because the AWA champion was going over to Japan and working for New Japan. So it gave Otto that worldwide push. And it just made him look better. I mean, Austria is a country of 8 million people. You know what I mean? The guy was a superstar. I'm sure they've got a statue to him somewhere down there in Graz. I mean, he was 2 tons of fun, that guy, and doing those roam ups. You remember getting hit with a roam up, I'm sure.
Well,
but there's a funny story. Hold on a second. There's a really funny story about him in the AWA. So they're down in Phoenix, Arizona, right? And the ring that they were using, because they didn't carry the ring all over the country, AWA, they used local promoters' rings. So when they got there, this ring is like really, really tall. And you couldn't, an athlete could jump up into it, but Otto's not that big of an athlete. So it was a Royal Rumble or a Battle Royal that night, right? So it was a Battle Royal, and the champion gets introduced last. Well, for all the other guys, there was a chair beside the ring for everybody to get up in the ring. And Otto was wearing those leather hosen, right? so he's a champion at the time, so he's the last guy to get called down to the ring, and somebody had moved the chair. One of the boys got the seconds to move the chair out of the way, and he couldn't get in the fucking ring with those leather hosen on. So a bunch of the wrestlers had to get out and help him get back up into the ring.
Pushed his ass in, right? Get in there, fucker.
I'm hearing that story secondhand, but I thought it's just hilarious because I've seen Otto break chairs, fall through floors.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I've seen some funny stuff with that big man. You know what I mean? God rest his soul. But talking about that, I mean, Jerry Jarrett. Did you spend any time working for the Jarretts, Mike?
No, not at all.
Did you know Jerry or Jerry? You work with Jeff, right?
Yeah, I worked with Jeff in the WWF, but that's as far as my affiliation goes with the Jarrett family, right?
Well, I just know that Jerry passed away just recently. I was just wondering if you had any affiliation with him at all. I mean, God rest his soul. I mean, he was a great promoter, and his kid has done a lot of great things in the business. I'm not saying whether everybody likes the personality or anything like that, but you got to admit, the Jarrett family has been around the block a time or two in the industry, don't you think?
Oh yeah, they definitely cemented their name in the history of professional wrestling, and a lot of great people have, and that's what's so good about the sport is someone always paved the way for you, and it was your job to, after you made your mark on the sport, to turn it over to some of the younger guys, and that's something I really, I don't watch a lot of wrestling on TV today. Because me, it's too gimmicky. It's too for entertainment purposes only.
Excuse me. Are you saying that Mantaur and PN News weren't gimmicky?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were gimmicky, but we were 400 fucking pounds, and at least you believed what we were doing, right?
Yeah, and that was 400 pounds of gimmick in itself, right?
Well, you got these guys out there that weigh $175 or $180. And they're flying around like a fucking bunch of acrobats. That's not fucking professional wrestling. Anybody can go in there and do that shit. Well, I don't know. I don't think I could, and I wouldn't want to. But you don't see any 400-pound guys on TV today. They're all midgets. They're all young kids, and they're tall and skinny. And it's like, what the fuck are they doing? You need a killer out
question
there.
Without without question of a doubt, the business has really moved on a lot. You know what I mean? It's a completely different beast than what we were involved with. And we talk about the psychology, we talk about the other things that we were, that we were involved in, the learning from, just learning the business from people like Finley and stuff like that. It's Finley,
Yeah,
Tony
even
Sinclair, the
yeah. I
grapplers,
mean,
and
I could name a lot of current names. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker. These guys are all great performers, but they're all great wrestlers too. I mean, we can go in there and put holds together and make shit believable. I've never had the privilege of working with Steve Austin, but I would have loved to work with him, man, because he looks like he lays that shit in. He's nice and snug, and that's the way I like it.
Well, that's it, Mike. I did get the opportunity to work with me and Austin had a few matches, tag matches and stuff like that. And I believe they got their start in Memphis, The Rock, and also because that's when New York, I mean, in Austin as well, but Austin then went global and then came over to WCW. And when he came into WCW, everybody knew that guy's gonna do something, and he was really, really smooth. His stuff was tight. He was just, he was a good worker. And then when he found his niche with the Stone Cold gimmick, boy, he took off, man, because he was doing that. What was he doing? The Taskmaster, or what they call him?
I think that's what the Taskmaster, or then he, was doing the Stunning Steve gimmick, right?
Well, he did the Stunning Steve in the WCW, but Taskmaster in WWF, that just wasn't him. And when he got the opportunity to work, do the Stone Cold gimmick, it was just perfect, because all these guys in the past, great workers, Dusty Rhodes, Barry Windham's, I could name a few other guys that were doing the cowboy gimmicks that were kind of those lone wolf wrestlers that weren't heels, weren't baby faces. They were, they were outside the pack when they were doing their gimmick. Well, Austin, a lot of guys weren't able to accomplish what Austin did with it, and Austin did it really well. But the one thing that really helped him out is he had the boss taking bumps for him, and everybody wants to stun the boss, right?
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
The shit out of their boss. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to?
And that was work. That was ideal. Without Vince, I don't think Stone Cold the gimmick would have got over as much as it did. But you got to give Vince a lot of credit. But I mean, Steve deserves all the credit too. But you got to give Vince a lot of credit for regardless of what you think of the man. You got to give a guy a lot of credit, because that was probably the best move he'd ever done.
Yeah, and who doesn't want to slap the shit out of their boss, right? I know fucking 10 million fucking people that want to do that shit, and talking about The Rock, a lot of people don't know this, but when The Rock before he hit the television in WWE as Rocky Maivia, he was up at the training camp in Stamford, Connecticut. And at the time, myself and Kurgan and Barry, we all were hitting the television doing the Truth Commission gimmick. So they brought us up from Memphis up to the office for the last 2 weeks before they put us on TV to go over the gimmick at the Performance Center up there. And everybody could watch us and they could tell if we were ready for television. Well, when we got up there, The Rock had just showed up at the same time. And so his first few matches in the Performance Center were against myself, Kurgan, and my other partner, Barry, Recon. And so, we got to work with The Rock the first probably 5 or 6 times. And, it was good because we'd go in there and we would wrestle for 2 or 3 hours and basically taught him. And that's when The Rock got started. And then like 3-4 months later, you seen The Rock on TV, and then they changed his name just to The Rock. And then boom, he exploded.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, but the thing is you can see the growth of The Rock, because when he first got on TV, you know, he wasn't as impressive as he was. And a couple of years later, when they started calling him The Rock, and he changed up his image a little bit, boy, did he take off, dude! I mean, it was really good, man. He got into the business. He knew how to work the gimmick. He worked it well, and yeah, like I mean, you know, in the era of that wrestling, you got to say him and Stone Cold were the best. You know, they were the best for that time. Okay, and then you had Undertaker, which was just an outstanding gimmick. But Undertaker he transgressed more because he was in there when Man and Shawn were on top too. You know what I mean? So Undertaker, how long was his career in New York? 30 years or something like that?
Yeah,
Mark
long fucking time, man. I mean, long time. You know, and Mark's a great guy, man. But you know what? I've seen him lately on TV or a couple podcasts here and there. And do you see how fucking old he looks, man? His fucking face and his skin is sagging. He's got bags around his eyes. You know, I was just talking to Adam Bomb, Brian Clark, the other day, and he brought that shit up, man. He said, "Have you seen the fucking Undertaker lately?" I said, "Man, he looks like he's fucking like 95 years old." He said, "Yeah, man, he's got that fucking turkey fucking chin. He's got wrinkles everywhere, man." He says, they need to make him the fucking masked man, but without the fucking gimmick this time.
Well, if we get Mark to listen, man, I got a tip for him, man. Stop eating salad and get yourself a fat face. You'll smooth out all wrinkles. I don't have a single wrinkle on my face.
Yeah, no shit, man. I mean, look at me. I'm 54. I think I might have one, maybe. You know what I mean? So, I mean, life is treated me great.
Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal is spreaded with a lot of butter.
Yeah. Listen, my secret is when I was growing up and I travel on the road, my mom used to use oil of Olay. And so I would always steal her oil of Olay and rub it on my face. Well, when I started wrestling back and forth to fucking Germany, you know, they didn't have oil of Olay in Germany. So I would buy like 8 or 10, 12 fucking bottles of oil of Olay and take it with me, man. I wasn't going to run out of oil of Olay, brother. And I think that's why I look, you know, it's worked out so far.
Chubb, because I remember you open up your bag in the dressing room and there'd be like 5 tubs of cork and 5 tubs of oil of Olay. And for those of you that don't know what cork is, it's like a thicker yogurt. And well, Mike used to eat that by the quart full. He'd have a big tub of yogurt and he'd sit down in front of my camper and he used to eat a big tub of yogurt every morning. But hey, it was good, a lot of protein, right? Right, big guy?
Yeah, man, it was great protein and it was my favorite flavor, peach. And I ate the shit out of some fucking cork, man. I would go to the store and I would check out the fucking checkout line. And I'd have 30 fucking containers of cork standing there. The guy says, "Are you going to eat all this?" I says, "Well, not at once." You know, but yeah. So speaking of cork, man, listen, you and me, we have traveled all over. You and me have traveled all over the place together. And we spent a lot of time up and down the road wrestling. And, you know, I've learned a lot from you, brother. We've been through thick and thin together, and we've always had each other's backs, man. You know, I remember when Dave Finley got us to try out in Kansas City in 2010 or 2011?
No, it was 2007.
2011. And you know, you and me both were in the best shapes of our lives at that time. And we went down there, man, and we tore the fucking house down, man, in front of everybody in the afternoon.
Well, dude, I mean, I just never forget that because we ended up doing that training and we got there and everybody just ignored us when we got back there to catering. Nobody wanted to know who we were. They kayfabed us. And even the guys that I knew from England, like what's his name, Bulldog Jr. and all those guys, you know, the Canadian, the cavalry group, and they just ignored us like we were nobodies.
Oh yeah, everybody. I mean,
as Finley and Nico came in and threw their arm around us and shit like that, everybody wanted to know us. And then when we got out there and we performed in the ring, every wrestler in that venue for that Raw, it was a Raw, wasn't it? Every wrestler in the venue was out there to watch us do our thing, man.
You know,
We could do that. We could got the opportunity to do that for the company. And I mean, I remember what you remember what Layfield said to Harley Race.
Oh, when he said that he has somebody that he wanted to get in there and work, and Laurinaitis said, Harley, don't bother me right now. I got business to take care of with these two guys. And off we fucking went, man.
He said, Harley,
tired of that same old breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Same old tasting scrambled eggs, burger, that dinner steak, ribs, or pork chops. Why not add a little bit of spice or just a touch of heat to make the difference? Change that scrambled egg with a little bit of Johnny Fabulous's John Cena Sr.'s $1 Million Jalapeno Hot Sauce. Great on burgers, steaks, chops, and those barbecued ribs.
That's right, he sure did. I forgot about that.
Fuck off, I'm talking right now. And then John says, come on, there's an office back here, because it was in the basketball arena there in KC. And he said, come on, we'll go talk back there. And he said, I remember those was plain as day. He goes, listen, what do you guys like working, heel or babyface? And he said, well, we'll work at heel, but whatever you want. He says, I think we're going to use you as heels. You know what I mean? Like, we had a spot there, man. And then all the haters hated it. And, the guys
because when we got there,
names, I don't care, but
Well, when we got there, I worked for the company already, so everybody pretty much knew who I was, and you knew a lot of guys in the back. But you're right, man. Nobody fucking came and talked to us. They act like they've never met us before. And once Finley came up and put his arms around us, man, then we were like everybody's friend, right? It's like, well, fuck, if Dave knows these fucking guys, they must be okay. Well, yeah, motherfucker, you don't remember me? We worked together fucking 20 times. It's like, give me a fucking break. But we tore the fucking house down, man. And, all the fucking haters were hating, and we didn't end up getting the spot, and the thing is, man, is people have blocked you. People have blocked me. But one thing's for sure, nobody can block us now, because this is our fucking platform and we can say whatever the fuck we want to, and ain't nobody gonna shut us down or tell us what to fucking do.
Amen to that, man. I agree with that 100%, man. Hey, Mike, I know that we need to move on and we need to talk about a few other things because we have a couple more agendas. And we can continue on our next programming to talk about other things that we did in our past so that the people can get to know us. How do you feel about that? Should we move on to the next segment, or what do you want to do?
Well, you know what? I'd really like to talk about this big upcoming fight that's happening tomorrow in Saudi Arabia.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
Upcoming fight that's happening tomorrow in Saudi Arabia between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Now, these are two guys that aren't known really for their boxing skills. Jake Paul is a social media standout, and Tommy Fury is Tyson Fury's brother, and Tyson Fury is the world heavyweight champion in boxing right now. And Tommy Fury hasn't really fought anybody. He's 8-0. He has 4 knockouts, 4 split decisions. Jake Paul is 6-0. And with 4 knockouts. So these guys obviously have some knockout punching power. But I think it's going to be a pretty tough fight. I think it might go the distance because neither one of these guys have really fought anybody. Jake Paul has fought Tyson Woodley 2 times, knocked him out 1 time, and got a split decision the next. And he's also beat Anderson Silva in the boxing ring. So he's beat some pretty good guys, and Jake Paul's brother Logan, his little brother Logan, he just started working for the WWE in the last year or so, and he's been doing some big pay-per-view shots for New York. So this Paul family has a lot of athletic ability in their bloodline.
Hey, you know what? I mean, he's obviously Jake Paul's obviously super tremendous at self-promotion, and at his YouTube channels, his stats, and everything like that. But let's talk about a few intangibles, if you want to, Mike, because I'm looking here. I got Jake Paul on boxing stats. I got Jake Paul. He's standing at 6'1". He's got a 76-inch reach. I think he weighed in at like 183 point something. And then on the flip side, you got Tommy coming in there, and I think his intangibles. He's 6 foot tall, and he's about a pound heavier than Jake Paul is, and he's got about 4 inches on reach, which is nice. And I was looking at, but the thing is here's what kind of throws me off is Tommy Fury. He's been around boxing his whole life. His brother is the heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, why is it taking him so long if he's so interested about boxing and stuff like that, and he's really his heart's into it? Why is it taking him so long? 24, but still, shouldn't he have more than 8 fights under his belt? As far as I'm concerned, I just don't know if his heart's in the game. However, the one thing I found in the Mirror today, I found it in the British newspaper, the Mirror. They were comparing Jake Paul to Merriweather, not in his boxing skills. Not in his boxing skills, Mike. Don't calm down. Not in his boxing skills, but in his business skills. Because Merriweather always picked his fight. He knew when to pick a fight. So now I was also looking at where what's Vegas got. Vegas has got Paul. He's the favorite to win this match.
I believe it.
Mike Tyson's picked Paul to win the fight, and even Tyson Fury, Tommy's brother, said, "Hey, dude, you need to be wary of this guy." And I was watching some of the footage of the training and stuff, and here's the difference between the two: is I think Tommy's got great feet, but Jake Paul got better hands, and I think Jake Paul's he's a better hitter, a harder hitter, and Tommy's more about scoring points.
Yeah, Tyson Fury went on Fight Hub TV last week and said that he thinks that his brother Tommy is going to get the victory over Jake Paul. He went out and said that, he went out to say, as far as saying, listen, I think he can knock him out maybe. And I don't see that happening. I think I see this fight going the distance. I don't see one boxer's skills overmatching the others to a great extent. I think it's a pretty even and well-balanced fight, and I think it's going to go the distance. I mean, I might be wrong. Some fucker might get knocked out in the first round, but I see the fight going the distance. I believe if it goes beyond 4, I think it's all in Paul's favor. I don't think that Tommy's got the legs. He's never fought more than 4 rounds. So, yeah, I mean, that's something. Longer the fight goes, I think the more it goes into Paul's favor. Well, listen, we'll be talking about the winner of this Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight on future podcasts. So if you want to know who wins and to see who was right and who was wrong, well, you're going to have to stay tuned into SOB Sports Podcast, and we'll bring that newsflash right to you as soon as we have it. So, Paul, listen, I think we've had a pretty good first show here today. It's going pretty smooth. We had a little technical fuck-ups here and there, but you know what? We'll get all that shit worked out, man. Do you have any last words to say?
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate taking time and getting into this venture with me. This has been really a fantastic start. I think we got more to come, and I'm looking forward to working with you and with Tim and working with Money in the Pharaoh in the future. And I know we'll pick up a lot of people listening to our podcast in a big hurry, because we've got the material, we got what it takes, and like you said, it's our platform, so we can do whatever the hell we want to do.
Yeah, and once again, I can't stress enough how grateful we both are to be here today. I'm grateful. I'm living the life in sunny Southwest Florida, just living it up. It's sunny and 85 degrees outside right now, and life is beautiful, man. I'm just down here living my best life, and I just want to remind everybody that us here at SOB Sports, we have a motto, and the motto is, you only live once. So I'm going to retract that. Our motto here at SOB Sports is, you only die once, but you live every day. So go out there and have fun and enjoy life, everybody. Peace out.